Hit it. Welcome on this fine, sunny day. At least it's fine, sunny here in H-Town. Now, I bet it's fine and sunny in Florida. I'm Spitface, and I'm here with the always classy and sometimes sassy host of this show, the First Lady of Sports Talk, the one and only Cheryl Smith. Hey, how's it going in your neck of the woods, First Lady?
Oh, it's going. As usual, it is hot here today. We've been going through a little hot streak lately.
Oh, yeah. Summer trying to give y'all a little hint that in a month or two it's going to be on. It's going to be on. And First Lady, I'm watching the Lakers and the Nets, and I could only think how much it would have just meant that instead of the Lakers beating up on the Nets, it was the Knicks beating up on the Nets. now, First Lady would have liked that. Beat them down.
We're 0-3 against them, that's for sure.
That could be the whole season. Like, well, okay, Knicks didn't really make no noise in the but we beat them Nets. It's like, that comes from, being a Bear fan. The whole Bear season, they can be 2-14, but them 2 was against Green Bay and Minnesota. Okay, well, we had a good season. All right. Okay, check out the music this week on Shout Out. We are featuring performances from Keeana Kee. Will she find her shining star or get the cold feel of the mute button? First Lady, we're ready. What you saying?
Each week, we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world. Not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something? So we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdies, known as the Miami Heat, wish their big man Oladipo could fly far away from an injury that has him on the shelf and missing Miami's 4-game road trip out west. Oladipo had 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals in 25 minutes before exiting with under 6 minutes left in the game against the Lakers, which the Heat won 110-104. Does this effectively end the Heat's playoff run? If he comes back in time for the playoffs, will he be the difference maker in advancing to the second round? Marvelous Marvin Hagler, rest in peace. Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? Well, what they're saying is Victor Oladipo can't stay healthy. That's what they're saying. I mean, that's what they're saying,
Uh-oh.
He injured his leg again against the Lakers. Now, he went up for a tremendous dunk. I mean, it was a very strong, vicious type of dunk. And actually, he really looked like the Victor Oladipo in the past. Unfortunately, he had some knee pain, and he had to leave the game, and then he didn't even come back. They did an X-ray on the scene, in which the X-rays came back negative. Now, the Miami Heat said that Victor Oladipo will have an MRI on Friday, so that was like the day after the game. However, now, the Heat said Victor obviously is going to miss that 4-game road trip and would be further evaluated. Now, that's the statement they came out with. Now, everybody in the league knows that the Miami Heat has a clandestine reporting mechanism when it comes to player injuries. Yeah. They're top secret, very, very top secret. Now, I'm just going to say this. That game was a nationally televised game. Everybody saw the injury. And if I'm a Heat fan, I would be very concerned because if the MRI was negative, I believe that the Miami Heat would have immediately made a statement about the results that that they were negative because they did it with the X-ray. But the fact that they are very silent and just indicating further evaluation, I truly think these results are very serious. And like I said, because Oladipo can't stay healthy. If you remember, he suffered a ruptured quad tendon in the same knee he injured against the Lakers. That quad injury happened in 2019, and it took him a whole year to come back because I think he played in the bubble on January 20th. He was playing for the Indiana Pacers, and they were one of the teams that played in the bubble. But we all know Victor Oladipo did not look like his old self. He was basically a shell of himself. And that injury definitely was horrific, that first injury that happened in 2019. So I don't know. It sounds kind of suspicious because we're hoping that this injury he sustained Thursday is not a season-ending issue. Because that would be a blow to the Miami Heat. But it's not going to end the Heat playoff run. I mean, by no means. The Heat has more depth on their team than any other team in the NBA. I mean, Oladipo's absence is not really going to make, to me, that much of a difference because they still got Goran Dragic, they got Kendrick Nunn to fill in, and Kendrick Nunn was having a great season, and he was on the bench when Oladipo came back into the lineup. Was traded to the Heat. So I don't think there's going to be any issue regarding him not being there, and I think even if he comes back for the playoffs, I don't think he's going to be the X factor, to be honest with you. That's because he's not going to be the person that, we are accustomed to seeing, very explosive, very quick. He has a very quick first step. But when you have knee issues, you won't have that quick first step. And also the Heat, before the Oladipo trade, they had made a trade to get Trevor Ariza. So the Heat are very well stacked when it comes to players. But the one thing I'll say this for the Miami Heat, it is clear that they will definitely, and I don't think any team is going to be offering Victor Oladipo a max contract because he's on his final year of his contract. And, fortunately for the Heat, they had a little sneak preview of Oladipo before he became a free agent because it's better to know now that he's a high risk versus signing him in the summer for a major contract, and then he has this current issue that he's currently having. So we wish him well. He's a nice guy. I remember he was on The Masked Singer. Victor Oladipo sing a little bit. He's really a nice person. One of the well-liked basketball players in the NBA, fraternity. But I don't know. I just know the Miami Heat, they're not saying anything, and that's not a good sign as far as I'm concerned. But, but the Heat shouldn't, as a Heat fan, you shouldn't have any concern. Victor Oladipo was, to me, cherry on the cake or cherry on the ice cream because he would have been good, but he's not the only reason for them to progress in the playoffs and to get into the playoffs. Spitface, what are you saying?
I'm saying Victor got the big man blues. And the big man blues is that you may have you may have awesome talent, skills, all of that, but if you can't stay on the court, it's like, hey, that's the deal. If you can't play, what's the good of all of that? And the thing with, a lot of big men is the knees and the legs. And, they, like you don't know what somebody's body's going to be. And, and these are top athletes, all of that, but their body may betray them. I'll put it like this. Like, body, you supposed to be, and the body go, no, I got to rupture this week. There's nothing that you can do about that. And when you start, and as First Ladies mentioned, when it starts being a pattern, the NBA goes, look, we're not going to spend top dollar for somebody who's only going to be able to play half the games or less or be out the season, and it just the odds start rolling that way. And that's the thing about the big man blues. There's nothing you can do with it but, do your preparation and everything. But, what take down Yao Ming? Yao Ming, the Great Wall, he just started crumbling. Them ankles got him. So that's the life of a big man. Now, the Heat, like First Lady said, if he was like consistently healthy and putting in 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals in each game, or averaging that kind of thing, woo-wee. But he ain't doing all of that. Back in the day he might have been, but it ain't running that way. But if he would still get double-digit points, 3-4 rebounds, a steal or two a game, that would take the Heat a long way. And, and they do have depth. But he will not be the X factor, and he's not a Y factor or a Z. He adds to the depth, which is a good thing because, if he can't play, they already got good depth. So, First Lady, I'm with you. Heat fans, let the butler serve it up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they are going to have to rely on Jimmy Butler and the Bam O Bam because Oladipo, like I said, to me it was a risk-free type of situation for the Heat because they really only gave up 3 players, and 2 of the players weren't even playing. They were injured. So the one player that was playing was Kelly Olynyk, and they actually replaced him with another center from the Kings, and his name is Bill. I can't even pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. But then they just signed Dwayne Dredman. So, they replaced Kelly O. Kelly O is actually balling in Houston right now. Spitface. So, so we'll see. We'll see how it materializes. And I know one thing, this Heat, they so top secret, they better let us know something about Victor O. Over to you, Spitface.
Victor O. Don't call it a comeback. Hey, Victor, don't hang out with Congressman Gates. That's all I'm going to tell you. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in ears, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion, overpowering, over the competition I'm towering. Reconcile when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest that'll all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out, huh? Mama said knock you out, huh? We are talking about the knockout punch to the Texas Rangers by Joe Musgrove, who threw the first no-hitter in San Diego Padre history. The Padres won 3-0. Musgrove threw 10 strikeouts and had no walks. Did the pandemic do Major League Baseball a favor? Is there renewed interest in the original America's game? Last week, the First Lady said MLB does not want to be the sport of old racist white men. They want to grow a youth market. Is baseball getting their act together? Leroy Satchel Page, Walter Buck Leonard, and James Cool Papa Bell are asking what you saying. First Lady, one, I was rather surprised that the Padres never had a pitcher that threw a no-hitter. And, because I'm going, wait just a minute. Baseball been around a long, the Padres been around a nice little while, too. It ain't like they just started up 10 years ago, but they've never had a pitcher to throw a no-hitter. And, that's almost like, Chicago Bear fans know that they've never had a MVP quarterback. They never had an MVP quarterback. Name them. Like that. Now I'm sure some old person's gonna sit up there, but back in '39 we had. Okay, all right, okay, you got me on that one. All right, but I'll just say. Since 1965, I don't think there's been a Bear quarterback to be the MVP of the league. So it's kind of in that world, And so Joe, I gotta tip you. And wait, 10 strikeouts and no walks. So my man was throwing the 5. He was throwing the 5. Also, baseball, I think the pandemic may have done baseball a little favor because, there were the baseball fans, just the fans of the sport. And then there are people who are like marginal fans, like, hey, look, I don't really follow a team or anything, but, as a kid, I played a little baseball. And, the thing about baseball, and this is why I always say that even though the NFL is like America's game, baseball is America's game for a reason. And the reason it's the original America's original game is because anybody can play. So you could be the little overweight kid who ain't fast, but maybe you can hit. You can hit. Oh, we got a spot for you. You can be the little skinny kid who can run like lightning. Now, you can't hit worth it, but you can run. So, baseball, football, you got to kind of be big. Basketball, you need to be tall. But football, whatever way you are, because, you look at some of them old films, some of them boys heading out to the mound, they don't look like today's players. Some of them look like they had a couple of extra cheeseburgers on their way to the game that day. But they could hit, they could hit, or, they could pitch. So, baseball is something that everybody can play. You don't have to have a whole, but you just got one thing you do good. We could, you catch good, put you in the back outfield, So, but I think what baseball is seriously going, they are not going to be the league of a dwindling audience. They're just not going to do that, And they're going to look. The youth is about to become predominantly minority. We are not going to fight that. As a matter of fact, I've been watching the baseball commercials. They're in it. They're like, look, the players was live. I'm like, man, these boys, they starting to look interesting, So I think the pandemic did baseball a favor. First Lady, what you saying?
Well, as a sports pundit, I really had to get myself into baseball mode because I usually don't even think about baseball this early because I'm dealing with basketball, the NFL draft. My baseball antennas are not really up during this time of the year. I wait to baseball until the summertime. But because of the no-hitter, it was impressive. And just to let you know, I think there's probably 5 other current Major League teams that have never had a no-hitter. So that's quite interesting. They said 6, but I'm quite sure they didn't factor in this current one for the San Diego Padres. But, nevertheless, the Musgroves no-hitter was spectacular. And to me, the reason why it was spectacular was because he was allowed to stay in the game and get a no-hitter. Because as you know now, baseball is so heavily managed by analytics. How can we forget how the Tampa Bay Rays lost the World Series because the manager, Kevin Cash, took out Blake Snell after he was having a dominant pitching performance, but because because of the analytics, Cash did not want Snell to face Mookie Betts for 3 times. This man was balling in baseball, whatever we say balling in basketball, football, but he was balling in baseball. And we all know what happened to the Rays because they had a 1-point lead and they gave up the lead in that inning, and then finally went on to lose the World Series. So I want to give kudos to the Padres manager, Jace Tingler, for allowing him to finish the game. Musgrove at that time, for the whole game, he struck out 10 batters. He threw 112 pitches because, analytics tell you to to replace a pitcher after they get 100 pitches. That's the key analytic term. When you get 100, it's time for you to remove that pitcher. But like I said, kudos to Jace Tingler because Musgrove pitched 112 pitches, and he just allowed 1 base runner. And my goodness, he hit a batsman with a pitch in the bottom of the 4th inning. Can you imagine if he didn't do that? He was 1 pitch away from a perfect game. It was a no-hitter, but it would have been a perfect game. But, kudos to him. Congratulations to him, and congratulations to San Diego Padres for having their first no-hitter. Now, I will say I guess the pandemic did do baseball a favor because, they had to go to a very short season. And as a result of having that short season, guess what? Younger fans and women watched, which increased their viewership last year, because the younger generation considers baseball too long and boring. So it'll be very interesting to see how this year will do because they went back to the full season, correct, Spitface? They did. They went back to their, 162 games? I think it's 162 game season. Now, they didn't learn from the pandemic because of the fact it was exciting to have a shortened season. It really was, because they only played 60 games, so every game meant something, even though in baseball usually the regular season means more than the basketball season. But it really meant a whole bunch with those games. You really couldn't afford to lose too many games, and you really couldn't afford to go on a really severe losing streak. So it brought a lot of excitement, a lot of uncertainty. So that's the reason why I didn't understand why they didn't think about reducing the number of games. Maybe it's because of money. Everything comes down to money. But I also believe that if you reduce these games, you will have more viewership from the younger audience. And, so they got it last season, but I don't think they got it this year because, like I said, they really need to seriously look at their game, seriously looking at speeding up the game because the game is just so long, drawn out, slow. I mean, pitchers take their time, batters take their time. It's like a cat and mouse game, the pitcher will get off the mound if there's a base runner at first base. It just slows the game down. They need to put a clock. I think that's what they really need to do. They need to add a clock, a timer to the baseball game because we really need to speed this game up, especially if you want to get young people to watch. So, I mean, hey, we'll see. Like I said, it worked for them last year with the pandemic, but we'll see how they'll do this year with the same old, same old.
All right. So, First Lady, you saying that they should not squander, that the pandemic did them a favor. Don't squander the opportunity to reevaluate.
Exactly.
And restructure. Don't squander that. But, probably, I bet you because of contracts, they could not reduce the season. Because they had contracts with the networks. And,
well, they could have worked it out. The NBA did. the NBA reduced their season to, 75 games or 72? It's either 72 or 75.
No, I didn't say they couldn't do it. I didn't say they couldn't do it. I just said that I meant that this season they could not do it because the contracts are already there. So that's a negotiation they'd have to have.
And again, like I said to you, the NBA negotiated after their shortened season. They came back and decided to have a short season, and they had contracts in place too. So it's all about you have to get the buy-in from the Players Association and the league. Anything can be done regardless of contracts, and then you got to get the buy-in from the networks. So I don't know. Like I said, baseball is very conservative. That's all I got to say. The NBA, we all know the NBA is an adaptable league. They will adapt to anything.
Yeah, the NBA but they didn't have to reduce 100 games. Like I said,
I'm not saying they had to reduce 100 games, but I'm just saying they could have done 100 games. They could have done, what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's 125. That's a third of their game. You don't just wipe that out. All right. Okay. But wait. I do agree. Shorten that season. Shorten the season, because it's just like adding water to Coca-Cola. You don't want that. Okay, First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have performance from Keeana Kee on Shout Out Part 1.
The music flows in from around the globe to get a shout-out from the panel. First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from Keeana Kee.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout-out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today we are featuring the music from Keeana Kee, a 6-piece band from the Washington, D.C. area that combines funk, jazz, and R&B grooves with melodic vocals and smooth sax lines, characterized by drum and bass-driven grooves, venturing frequently into progressive and Latin jazz rhythms. That sounds like the same group we had last.
I think the production team got the wrong bio up for Keeana Kee, but Keeana, we'll make it up to you. We'll make it up to you, baby.
We make it up to you. She's a soulless, and she's a soulless. Anyway, but she is out of Washington, D.C., so let's hear Sweet Heaven.
You're my sweet heaven. You're my sweet heaven. You're my sweet heaven. You're my sweet heaven. You're my sweet heaven. You're my sweet heaven. Give me your hand. Close your eyes.
That was short, sassy, and quick. Okay. You know what? I'm going to give it a shout out. It was the use of, I guess, the music. It almost sounded like there was some auto tune in there, but it's that. But I kind of liked the song. It was. I'm not. I'm speechless. Let me just put it that way, okay? I'm not speechless because it was that spectacular. I just really can't kind of describe that type of music because it's like that. It's not electronic music. Electronic music is a lot faster, but she has a lot of electronic manipulations in the song and her voice. So really, I didn't get a true gauge of her voice, but the song was okay, so I'm shouting it out.
All right, okay, all right. And firstly, I'm gonna give it a shout out now. Just to clean up a little bit, Keeana Kee's style is a combination of pop and Spanish influence that brings integrity to her work that is refreshing and full of exotic taste. Keeana's sultry voice and sexy lyrics take the song from day to night, beats the club, summer to every season. And she's out of New York, and she's from Latvia and London raised. Okay, so but we're gonna give her a shout out, First Lady. We'll go with that for the moment, and back to you. I'm just giving this a shout out.
Okay, well, we appreciate that update because we can definitely hear more from Keeana on part 2 of Shout Out. And is that the sound of my favorite underwater friend? Is it time for Flip It?
All right. It is time for Flip It, where hosts defend the point and then flip the script and defend the opposing view. Hideki Matsuyama leads the Masters after moving day and is favored to win. If he does, he becomes the second Asian man, not Asian American, Asian man to win. Given the attacks against Asians and voter suppression, did the Masters get a pass by the activists? And what I mean by the activists is the people, fighting to get against those voter suppression laws and racist tactics. Defend, the Masters and the PGA did not get a pass. Canceling the Masters would not have helped in the fight against the voter suppression. It would have not have. So that's what we defended. Now, First Lady, I'm looking at the situation, and I'm looking at the Masters, and I'm looking at the PGA, and one of the big differences is that the All-Star game isn't something that happens as part of due course of business for a baseball team, like every day, every week, every time they play. It's like it's something that's sought after because it's only going to be one game for that area. That one game, for the league wide. So it's not like a regular everyday game. The golf has it's like any other schedule. It's just another. Even though there's hype with the Masters, because in the golf world it's a big event, but it's just another game in the series of the sport. So before the end of the season, and whoever's there, the grand champion of the year for golfing. So it's just another game. Now it's publicized, because that's how they make money, as a big event. But it's not like the all-star game of golf. It's just another game in golf. So canceling the Masters would, it's not the same as baseball canceling the All-Star, not canceling, but moving the All-Star game. So there's no moving, the Masters. We're going to move the Masters to Toledo. It's another game in the schedule. First Lady, defend.
Well, like you indicated, I agree with you. You can't move the Masters because it belongs to Georgia. I mean, it is Georgia. It's Augusta, Georgia. That is the Masters. So it would have been difficult for them to move the Masters. Now, there was discussion about people boycotting the Masters, but, unfortunately, I'm not going to. White people will not boycott the Masters because of voter registration problems in Georgia. Now, I will say this about the Masters in regards to this whole situation regarding the voting problems and racial undertones. The PGA chairman, Fred Ridley, he did address the issue. Basically, he was saying, because they're not canceling the Masters, this action is not to be construed with any indifference to suppression of voters' rights. The tour fully supports efforts to protect the rights of Americans. And, so, and actually they showed they did something for the first time. They honored Lee Elders as one of the Masters, they call it starters. I mean, along with, he was an honorary starter. He, along with Gary Players and Jack Nicklaus. So that was an honor because everybody knows Lee Majors was the first black person to play at Augusta. So I give kudos to them. And also the club unveiled plans to fund a women's golf program at Payne College, a historical black university in Augusta. So they recognize of their terrible past, because we all know the issues in the Augusta clubhouse, but they recognize that. So I mean, they didn't cancel it because I'm gonna say canceling it is not going to help anything. And like you said, Spitface, what they going to do? The Masters got to be where the Masters is, but at least they're doing something as far as recognizing the racial tension, and I applaud them for doing that, having Lee Elder there and putting that program in Payne College.
All right, okay, First Lady. Now, this is flipping, where we flip the script and defend the opposing view. The PGA and the Masters got a big pass. When was the last time you heard them speak out against voter suppression or Black Lives Matter? Now, the PGA, maybe, if anything, I actually think that if they had said, you know what, the PGA and the Masters, this is going to take a hit, but with this voter suppression law and the people that it's going to impact in the great state of Georgia, we are not going to play the Masters. Now, that would have been like heads exploding all over the place, but that would have had a tremendous impact because Republicans play golf. And I will say that there are more Republican carts on that golf course than on any golf course than Democrats. And it's not really a Republican-Democratic thing. It's when you have to hit people where they get to see that, look, there are consequences. And there are consequences to the things that you like. To the things that you like. The All-Star game, they may look at, well, see, that's going to hurt all these, minority vendors and everything. And it is. Okay. But see, since y'all ain't the minority vendors, that might not hurt you. But to take away something that you really enjoy, now that can make a difference. And I think that our activist friends gave them a bit of a pass, and that's probably because most of the activists ain't playing golf. So they like, okay, they don't get it. Look, this is something that is, I'll just say, for a certain group is precious, and sometimes you need to go wake up that, hey, we want our fans and we understand, but you know what? Well, we got to stand. So I think the PGA and the Masters got off big. They got a big pass. First Lady, defend.
Well, the PGA and the Masters, especially the Masters, they've always gotten a pass when it came to political issues. I mean, do I expect them to say anything against voter suppression, which they did, which is surprising that they did. But let's face it, the Masters they've always been a problem when it comes to racial situations, because we all know the first American, like I said before, Lee Majors, it was 1975 that he was the first African American to play at the Masters. And while he was playing in 1975, he could play there, but he couldn't join the club because they did not allow black people to join. Do you know it was until 1990 that the Masters allowed their first African American to join as a member? That was only 7 years earlier from when Tiger Woods won his first Masters in 1997. So people, give the golf, they've been getting a pass because obviously they haven't been catering to minorities, and it seemed like the PGA and nobody spoke out about it, because to me, that's kind of ridiculous that you have a closed net club that wouldn't allow any minorities like black people until 1990. Until 1990, that shows you how closed-minded these individuals are. To be honest with you, that really shows you how closed-minded. They have 40 African members now, but that's in a club that joins is about over 300 or 400 members in total. So, they allow 40 of us in there now. So I really wouldn't expect the Masters or the PGA to really take a big stance regarding this. And, of course, they're not going to cancel anything. Like you said, it's not that many people who are in the fight for voter suppression playing golf, especially not at Augusta. First of all, it's probably too expensive to even go there. But that's probably why they wanted to make sure they had somebody who had pockets, to be honest with you. But, the Masters, they have been a very long history of racial undertones and a long history of suppressing the minorities going there. So, they definitely got a big pass.
Fried chicken in the clubhouse. Now, some younger listeners may go, what does that mean? Some older ones remember. All right, First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Up next, the funnies and our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2. If you remember what the other players were saying when Tiger won the Master, because you remember the winner of the Master has to pick the menu for their big dinner that they have. And you remember all those racial things that came out. And fried chicken was one of them.
All right.
Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for the funny Spitface. Over to you.
All right. First Lady, it looks like the production assistants have given us a public service announcement for this week. So, if anybody needs to make a little money, we got it for you this week. Website offers $1,000 to binge watch home improvement shows. A website is offering a remodeling enthusiast $1,000 to watch at least 10 episodes of 3 different home improvement TV shows in a month and document the experience. Review Home Warranties, a website dedicated to reviews and comparisons of home warranty providers, said it will pay someone $1,000 to watch at least 10 episodes of 3 TV shows dedicated to home improvement projects in a 1-month period and complete a workshop for each experience. Do you love a good before and after? Do home improvement shows inspire you? Have you spent a weekend binging on your favorite house flipping show? If so, we have a job for you, the posting states. Applications are being accepted through May 10th, and the winner will have until June 17th to complete the task. Now, First Lady, I do know some home improvement, and they watch, Flip House and how to, they into it. I don't get that they have to do a lot of work to get applicants.
Right.
Because like I say, I know some people right now, they all into it. It's on, right now, they watch, they watch it right now. So if they have any trouble getting applicants, I want to hear about that. But gosh darn it, water special on you must be our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It Part 2.
The Major League Baseball season is in full swing, and some teams are saying, forget COVID-19. Come on out to the park. No social distancing and no mask required, plus full capacity. Is this thoughtless, and should the commissioner demand teams follow the science, not the politicians? Panel defend. The Texas Rangers opening day was a super spreader event and showed a lack of caring for the health and safety of your fans. Spitface defend.
Yeah, First Lady, I'm here in Texas, and I'm going Texas Rangers. Come on. I understand that we have a governor that's reckless and does not care about the health and well-being of the people of the state of Texas, which I know the First Lady can kind of relate to, given that she got a governor who's just as, might even be worse, but, when you're in a race to the bottom, you stop noticing the differences. But, the Texas Rangers, and I'm just going, Major League Baseball, what are you doing? Despite what the state law is, what the states say, especially in these Republican-controlled legislatures, what the science is. And just, Major League Baseball, if you do not want to have a COVID pandemic throughout Major League Baseball, because where the fans are, as much as you try to keep them separated, we down here, y'all all in the same bubble. And you're going to have it at full capacity, not where, hey, look, we're going to do half so that we can do some distancing. No, come on out and, it's bad enough that we got governors doing a disservice to their constituents by, hey, we got to get rid of masks, man. We got to all for what? For what? And then you just follow suit. Commissioner, please, please, please don't turn Major League Baseball games into super spreader events. Stop it across the board. And if you don't, teams are going to do just like the Texas Rangers, be idiots, and just open up everything just because they can, showing no caring for the health and well-being of their fans. So shame on you. First Lady, defend.
Well, we all know that Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, he eliminated the mask mandate. He opened up Texas the same way Kemp opened up Georgia and Ron DeSantis opened up Florida. Do we expect these Republicans to show care for their residents? No. He hasn't done it, but the fans should have better sense is what I'm trying to say. They should have better sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense to pack people in a stadium, and I saw all those people not wearing masks. And, yeah, baseball should intervene because, again, this is their product, and you can rest assured, who knows, they're really close to the players. I don't know. All these people are not tested. So, the virus, if remember, is an airborne virus. So if it's coming in the stadium, all these people in the stadium, you can rest assured all that air is being blown on them players. So I don't understand it. I really, really don't understand it. I mean, baseball, to me, they're so particular about the players, where the players could go last year. They had all these protocols, and all of a sudden they're allowing the stadiums to be full. I mean, we're not completely out of this COVID situation. As a matter of fact, it's on the rise again, and it's because of these variants. So, right now we're not being able to get more people tested, and the viruses, again, is getting high, and hospitalization is up again, infections are up. I mean, look at Michigan. Michigan is one of those states that's in trouble. Now, I haven't looked at what Texas is looking like right now, but, they're looking bad. Okay, are you surprised? No, I'm not surprised. So, I mean, let's face it. We talk about the governor that allowed all of this to happen, but baseball really needs to take a second look at this situation and seriously think about it, because I'm sorry, it possibly can affect the players.
All right, First Lady. All right, this is flipping, so we flip the script and defend the opposing view. The Texas Rangers were following what was allowed to them, the directives of the governor, not the commissioner, which is okay. The commissioner has not said this is what you got to do. The state says, hey, in our view, go forward. Now, the fans are grown and should be able to choose if they want to take the risk. Now, First Lady, I looked at the Texas Rangers and I said, well, you know what? Come on, y'all should have just put in your own stuff. And then I said, hey, they know what the situation is in the state of Texas. And the fans know the situation in the state of Texas. Now, you have a group, a significant group, who says all of this is a farce. Or at least if it's not a farce, it's not what it's being made out to be. So they are grown. They are grown. And just like going to a Trump event, if they want to go to an event where the possibility of them becoming infected is there, but they don't think that that's the real deal, and they all want to congregate together, more power to them. Let them do as they choose to do. They grown. Now, unfortunately, okay, even though, hey, if that's what's available and that's what's allowed, and the Texas Rangers say, hey, okay, the state say we can do this, it's okay. All right, we as citizens can have an impact, be impacted, because they go back out into the community. Now, we may have to just face as a community that, look, we have had to deal with anti-vaxxers, people who won't put on seat belts. We've had to deal with people who want to go, who anything that has them do something different from what they absolutely like to do, all of a sudden is an imposition, and they want to protest. We're going to have to deal with them. So if the Texans want to let fans in, and those fans want to come in and take off their mask and do that, and they feel comfortable, bless them. But I'm keeping my mask on. I got that hand up, whether it's a one shot, two shot, I'm getting mine, and but they got the right to do it, and unless the commissioner says something, they grown folks. First Lady, what you saying? Defend.
Okay, well, fans always have the right to choose, especially if the governor is allowing the fans to show up. Well, they will show up, and they definitely have shown out regarding this situation because, people have to make choices, and obviously Texans are fine with going to the parks and not wearing masks. They're within their rights to wear or not to wear a mask because, again, the governor Greg Abbott has allowed this to happen, and it was his directive that they would not restrict the number of people to go to parks. So it's the same way as the bars are wide open. Everything is wide open, and if you as an individual have to make that decision, to me you should have more common sense. But, hey, people were cooped up for, a year, and they want to get out. So now the governor has made it, within their right to go out and to be able to exercise their options and their rights. And they don't have to wear these masks, and they can just go among their fellow residents, fellow fans, and they can breathe in all the COVID-19 they want to. But that's them. But I know, like you right, Spitface, that's not me. I would not even want to be among that group of people because, and I've been vaccinated, but I'm not going to put myself at risk. But that's people's right. Governors, they give state mandates, so they're not mandating anything anymore regarding the COVID-19 and regarding restrictions of being able to go to the bars, being able to go to the parks. Some states have, like New York, they're only allowing a percentage. You only can have up to 2,000 people, I believe, in Yankee Stadium, only 2,000 people at Madison Square Garden. So, some governors have made it a restriction, and others haven't. And unfortunately in Texas, they haven't. So the Rangers, they're allowing their fans to come, and it's a mess. But it is definitely a super spreader. All right, Spitface, over to you.
All right.
Take us to break.
On the other side of the break, we have another performance from Keeana Kee on Shout Out Part 2. Please stay tuned.
You are listening to Bras Panties and Sports. It's time for Shout Out Part 2, the picks and the finale. The music flows from around the globe to get a shout out from the crew. Spitface, over to you.
All right, we have another performance from Keeana Kee. DJ, let's hear Ride With Me. Let's check it out.
Feel no regrets if I die tomorrow. I'm walking alone, but I can't go solo. I'm looking for you, you're looking for me. Who cares if we both wanna be free? I feel no regrets if I die tomorrow. I travel the world, now I can't go solo. I'm looking for you, you're looking for me. From my happiness, you hold the key. You had this, let go of you. This jacket and purpose too. And so did the boy, baby. You had this, let go of you. This jacket and purpose too. And so did the boy, baby. I wanna see you riding, let the roof down low, get away with me. I wanna breathe you in. I wanna see you riding, let the roof down low, get away with me. I wanna breathe you in. You are, yeah, like a Playa night, number one. And you're kind of a solid gold. If it's all that did the whole world. You are Blue Ray, number one. In your eyes you show no cold. And that won't get me on the bed so you feel no hurt. I wanna see you ride, let the roof down low, get away with me. I wanna breathe you in. I wanna see you ride, let the roof down low, get away with me. I wanna breathe you in. Can you move? You had this, let go of this jacket and purpose too. And so did that boy, like you had this, let go of this jacket and purpose too. And so did that boy, baby. Let the top down on your Mustang. Let the top down while I'm single. Let the top down while I'm single. I wanna see you ride with me. Drop the roof down low and get away with me. Only one I see is my ride or die. And I ride with you. I wanna see you ride with me. Let the roof down low, get away with me. I wanna breathe you in. I wanna see you ride with me. Let the roof down low, get away with me. I wanna breathe you in. Can you get away? Get away. Get away. You're my ride or die. I do anything you want. Be right till the end of the trial, yeah. Or can you move it? Can you move it? They wanna see you ride with me.
All right, that was Ride With Me. First Lady, what's the verdict?
I'm going to shout it out. It sounded similar to the other song, but so I like the other song. This one, obviously, it was still similar. Again, she used that electronic manipulation of her voice. So I would love to hear her voice without that manipulator. I don't know what it's called, but I still think the song was good. So I'm shouting it out.
All right, I'm going to give it a shout out, and I'm going to go with First Lady. Keeana, just let it belt out with your own natural voice there. Now, that is the end of shout out. If you like what you heard from Keeana Kee, and that's Keeana, Key is Kee. Check her out on Instagram, Keeana Kee, and on Old Grumpy Radio. If you'd like to be heard or have any comments, please send your emails and tracks to content@oldgrumpyradio.com. First Lady, back to you.
Okay, well, it seems like the production crew, it's time for our hardwood crown. Who will wear that hardwood crown? But it seems like our production crew did not compile the results from last week national championship. Even though I know I had the Baylor Bears, and I think you did too, Spitface, right?
I went with the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, you sure did. So that part we know. We just don't have the totals right now. So anyway, keeping that in mind, let's get to our current picks. And let's see. hold on for a second. I seem to have lost our current picks. Just give me a few seconds and I will pull them up. Oh, man, this is something. I seem to have lost the script. What happened to my script? Spitface, I may have to have you do it for.
All right, okay. Well, first lady,
until I can get through my technical difficulties right now.
All right. Well, by Saturday night, the Knicks will rank higher than the Miami Heat. $250K for the correct, minus $250K incorrect. And First Lady, I kind of like to roll the dice, but with $250,000 on the line, I think I'm gonna go with the Heat. That the Knicks will not rank higher than the Heat.
You said by next Saturday, right?
By next Saturday night, the Knicks will not rank higher than the Heat.
The Heat are on a road trip for 3 to 4 games, 4 games starting tonight. The Knicks are at home for about 3 games. They won their first home game. So you know what? I'm going to say the Knicks will be on top.
Okay, all right. Okay, the Blazers will rank higher than the Lakers. Now, the Lakers had a big win against the Nets, but overall, I'm going with the Blazers.
You're going with
the
Blazers?
They will rank higher than the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Blazers.
Okay, all right, that they will rank higher than the Lakers. And then we have the Detroit Pistons that somehow, some way, they will mess around and have a record above 500. Which means that they'll mess around and have a winning record by the end of the week.
The Detroit Pistons?
Right, that they'll have a record above 500.
Oh, hell to the no.
Now, I'm of the, if the Pistons have a record above 500, that is actually a problem for the Pistons because they don't want to be winning. But so I'm going to go that they might just get close. They might be like 1 game under or something, but they will not go above 500.
You talking about by the end of the week?
Right, by the end of the week.
Okay.
That they will not go above 500. They'll stay below 500.
I definitely say no. Definitely not.
Yep, no. They're gonna lose something, a couple, if they smart. And okay, well, First Lady, our outrageous predictions.
Okay, what is our outrageous prediction? I would say the outrageous prediction is that Deshaun Watson will settle those cases. That's my outrageous prediction.
That's what he'd be hoping. Look, let me just get all this guy out of the way. My outrageous prediction is that that by the middle of the NFL season, that Gronk will go to the Raiders.
You're what? By the end of the season?
By the middle of the NFL season, Gronk will go to the Raiders.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I just want to say Rochelle Blackmore is the first female jockey to win the Grand National. It's a British race, and it's a very grueling race because it's a race that females is a very demanding race, and you would not expect a female to win the race. And as a matter of fact, she says, I don't even feel human. I feel unbelievable. I don't feel a male or a female. So kudos to her being the first woman to win such a grueling type jockey. It's a horse race. The first female jockey. It's the most famous and demanding race. So kudos to her.
All right. Now, we want to give a shout-out to the Veteran Women's Enterprise Center, our partners in empowering women, veteran business leaders, and women entrepreneurs. All right. Shout out to you ladies everywhere. And please visit us at braspantysports.com, where you'll find links for the latest episodes. And First Lady, you want to take us out of here?
All right, this is Cheryl Smith, the First Lady of Sports Talk, and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. See you next week.